Good day everyone, you're welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we have the following problem. Integral as x goes from 0 to infinity, x open bracket, the hyperbolic cos of x minus the hyperbolic sine of x close bracket, then all over square root of x dx. Wow, this question at a glance looks somehow maybe going to be difficult, but not really difficult at all. This problem can be solved within 10 seconds. This problem can be solved within 10 seconds. Okay, now the first thing to do here is not to do any substitution. It's just how to manipulate these hyperbolic functions here. But first of all, let us put the following formulas down, that is identities, that the gamma, okay, of n is equal to integral from 0 to infinity e raised to negative x times x raised to n minus 1 dx. Okay, and another one is the gamma of 3 all over 2 is evaluated to be what? Square root of pi all over 2. Okay, now how do we solve this problem? Okay, now let us try to manipulate these two hyperbolic functions here by writing them in exponential form. What do I mean? Okay, we all know that the hyperbolic cos function of x is equal to e raised to x, okay, plus e raised to negative x all over 2. Okay, and the hyperbolic function, the hyperbolic cos sine function is, that is, the hyperbolic sine function is what? E raised to x, okay, minus e raised to negative x all over 2. Okay, now we're going to subtract these two hyperbolic functions. Okay, now we have, in the question, we have the hyperbolic cosine of x minus the hyperbolic sine of x. Okay, now writing it in exponential form, minus the hyperbolic sine of x is going to be what? E raised to x plus e raised to negative x all over 2. Okay, minus e raised to x minus e raised to negative x all over 2. So put this in brackets because you are opening up this bracket with this negative sign here. Okay, now the common denominator here is what? 2. Okay, so we have e raised to x, okay, plus what? E raised to negative x minus e raised to x, e raised to x, okay, then minus, and this minus change to plus, okay, plus e raised to negative x. So now what do we have here? So we can simplify this. We all know that this e raised to x here minus this e raised to x, so the two are eliminated. So what do we have? So we have e raised to negative x, okay, plus e raised to negative x all over 2, and this simplifies to what? 2e raised to negative x all over 2, cancelling out these two, so we have what? E raised to negative x. Okay, very nice. So we can say that the hyperbolic cosine function of x minus the hyperbolic sine of x is equal to what? E raised to negative x. This is so beautiful. Now our problem is becoming, okay, our problem is becoming the integral as x goes from 0 to infinity of x open bracket, the hyperbolic cosine function of x minus the hyperbolic sine of x over square root of x dx. So it's becoming, so this becomes integral from 0 to infinity x times, you know, this has been evaluated to e raised to negative x, okay, all over square root of x dx. Okay, now we have x all over square root of x here, which can be written, that is x all over square root of x. Okay, this can be written as x all over that is x raised to power 1 over x raised to power 1 all over 2. Since this square root of x means x raised to power 1 all over 2, so this can be simplified to what? This can be simplified to what? Square root of x, okay? Or another way you can simplify this, okay, here we have x over square root of x, okay? Multiply numerator by square root of x and also multiply denominator by square root of x. So we can see that this square root of x times this square root of x is x. So this is equal to x times this square root of x here, okay, all over x. This cancel out, so remaining square root of x. So our I now is becoming integral as x goes from 0 to infinity square root of x, okay, e raised to negative x dx, okay, and this is almost looking the same as the integral representation of this gamma function. So we have integral going from 0 to infinity. So x raised to 1 over 2 can be written as x raised to 3 over 2 minus 1, okay, times e raised to negative x dx. So we are very familiar with this, that from here this is equal to what? The gamma of 3 all over 2, and this is equal to what? Square root of pi all over 2. So this is square root of pi all over 2. So we need to deduce that, okay? So we have to say that the integral from 0 to infinity of x, open bracket, the hyperbolic cosine function of x minus the hyperbolic cosine function sine of x all over square root of x, okay, is equal to square root of pi all over 2. Thank you for viewing, and make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel for more interesting videos.